Greetings, dear, magnificent, beloved being that you are. Eternal being. Never born, never die. Eternal. Take a nice deep breath. Breathe into your heart, out of your mind. Exhale through your mouth. When in doubt, breathe in through your nose, into your heart. Exhale through your mouth. A very fast way to get back to yourself. Now, my topic is how to protect yourself from psychopaths. An interesting topic. And what I used to do is I at some level, I was taking on relationships that then the troubles I would have would be like a lot of other people were having trouble, so that I'd really know how to deal with it or work with it or get beyond it. Now I realize this. That was a belief, that you have to experience everything everybody's experiencing to know what they're experiencing. Like you have to go everywhere in the world. You have to get all the knowledge that's available, all the information, so that you really know. No. See, the more complicated something is, the more lies there are. Absolutely, because truth is simple and not complicated. The basic one, do not kill or eat animals, do not kill or eat humans, you see. But you see, that one is so basic, that's an absolute truth. You do not choose, do not cause harm intentionally to any living entity, a divine being. That doesn't include machines. Machines aren't that. They're just machines. They're a creation. Creations aren't us. We're not creations, you see. We're creator beings. So, how you protect yourself from a psychopath, you have to know how they operate. And what happens is if people listen to the ranting and the raving and the ugliness that can flow through the mind, describing yourself or somebody else, the plans to get even, to have a grudge, I'll do this to you because you did that to me, and it's all this kind of, that is the mind. That destroys relationships, families, it destroys individuals completely bonkers, and it's people aren't recognizing is, well, look at these. This is this great mind that does this, and this great mind that says there is no God. Well, who is that? What? I'm going to believe you? I know my experience, you see. Now, so I had a very close relationship then with a psychopath, and what happened, I don't do this anymore, I got rid of that belief. I took out that belief, that program, that I have to experience and everything everybody's doing to know what they're going through, because no, it's all basic, pain or pleasure in this reality. But beyond that, you go to bliss, and that's my book, Live Your Bliss. Also, what you think of me is none of my business, and Dare to Be Great. These are all, I have a lot of books out there, and every one of them has goodies in it, and so this whole thing though, so I used whatever it was I learned to transcend that. Just like What You Think of Me Is None of My Business was one of the very first books on, they say, codependency. But it began as my realizing how much power I always gave to other people to control me, to control my emotions and such. And one of the ways a psychopath operates, they operate on your emotions and reactions. They enjoy your suffering and discomfort and fear. And they actually visibly smile and are happy in your suffering. Now, that to me is like, because I wouldn't want anybody to suffer, and I wouldn't want any animal to suffer. It wasn't mean I was always like this. When I lived from the mind and all that, I would do all those same things, because I would take on what I was taught, what everybody told me, what I learned here, what I learned there, and what did I know until I began to question, you see. And to really start to look at, well, who am I and what's possible? And then, of course, you get ridiculed for that. And then a lot of relationships change because, well, no. I mean, you can't be who you are. You know, you've got to be the way I want you to be. So then they actually operate on your reactions. And what I noticed is when I wrote Live Your Bliss, I have to tell you, I was the end of that relationship, and what I did and how actually by the divine mysticism, really, divine mystic powers somehow, I was lifted out of that relationship and that situation instantly as soon as I reached another vibrational level, another state of being where I was in the mystic. I was surrendered into the divine, and I was in the glory and the joy of it. So I was no longer at that other vibration. Let's even call it a frequency, which is very mechanical, harsh kind of an energy. That's why I've tuned my piano to 432, because that is a frequency supposedly of the vibration of the pineal. And when I helped heal the kitty cat, my little kitty cat who got bit by the rattlesnake and stuff, and was part of it, I would use the 432 around her, and she loved that. It made her feel really comfortable. You see, it's vibration, it's sound, it's vibration here. So people who are psychopaths, and maybe even sociopaths need your constant attention all the time, because it's always about them and the glorification of who they are. And they say that if someone who's more of a sociopath, and I think, well, maybe we all have been that, at least I think I have, but these are labels. That's not who we really are. They're describing maybe something, and then it gets a blunk. We just put it all together, and that's the way it is. But what I noticed, what we call a psychopath, is that they actually live off the suffering of others, their constant reaction, keeping them in fear all the time, off balance. And I realize it's because they were abused. And it's such deep abuse like that, they had to learn how to defend themselves. So they're always under attack and being found out or hurt or harmed. And it causes some kind of tweaking that's that they're off center. They're not connected any longer. It's like they have no soul somehow. It's just a disconnect. And so I did some talks on take your soul back, and so that's the thing, is about our reactions, and it's also what keeps an artificial, virtual reality or overlay of the divine to make it appear as if troubles and problems and struggles and wars and diseases and death and torture and all of these are like normal, natural, this is what goes on, and this is the way it is. Wait a minute. Look, if you take a look at how all the movies that were produced, building each thing, the books that were published, what the religions would say, what this was teaching, and then the history, and then the science. Just notice all of this, and all of this language, all of these concepts, ideas, stories, narratives, all about this and how it's manifesting. Why? Because we've agreed to that, and agreed to the suffering, and agreed to, because the saints suffered, so therefore I will. And then if you question authority, or you go to hell, or you be punished. And what happens is, we take a look at how this happened, somehow we've constructed this ourselves, you see, by agreeing. And there's not even disagreeing. Don't disagree or agree. You go beyond disagreement or agreement. You go beyond that and stop reacting to the effects of the weather, the day, the time, the people, the thing, the news, the this. Stay centered. Be a samurai. Get the job done, whatever it may be. But stay centered in your heart. And no longer allow psychopaths to control your life by allowing them to control your emotions. And you take a look at where your emotions are being most manipulated, who's doing it, And why? Pull back your power to yourself. Energize yourself, you see, and not these emotions, but generate the feelings of the love and the joy and the bliss and the being and the knowing, you see, of who you are.